Time now for business, and we say hello to Kate Moody.
Hi, Francois.
The industrial action continues in the UK.
Yeah, in England and Wales, ambulance workers are walking out for the second time this winter. December saw crippling strikes across a number of sectors, including healthcare, transport, border control, and postal workers. This Wednesday marks the second major walkout by paramedics, ambulance drivers, and support staff. Some 20,000 workers are taking part, and the head of the National Health Service says that patient care is being disrupted. In some places, soldiers have been mobilized to keep ambulances running. Unions are calling for significant pay rises to keep pace with double-digit inflation, which is hovering near 40-year highs of around 11%. Talks with the health minister earlier this week failed to produce a breakthrough, and more strikes are expected in the weeks and months to come. Well, on Tuesday, the British government introduced legislation designed to limit the ability of certain sectors, like hospital and ambulance workers, to go on strike. The bill would enforce minimum service levels even during union-led walkouts. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak defended those proposals before Parliament today.
What's terrifying is right now, that right now, people not knowing whether when they call 999, they will get the treatment that they need. Now, Mr. Speaker, in Australia and Canada and the US, they ban strikes on blue light services. We're not doing that. All we're saying is that in these emergency services, patients should be able to rely on a basic level of life-saving care. Why is he against that, Mr. Speaker?
In Japan, the owner of retailer Uniqlo has said it will raise staff wages by up to 40%. Consumer inflation hit 4% in December in Japan. That's the fastest pace in 4 decades. The government has called on Japanese businesses to increase salaries to protect workers. Solange Mougin and Caroline Lambolet report.
It's a global emblem of Japanese design. With 3,500 clothing stores worldwide, Uniqlo is the shining star of its parent company Fast Retailing. For its CEO, the salaries of its workers in Japan, though, are just too low, especially considering rising inflation. Fast Retailing announced on its site that it's revising wages in a significant way. It said this was the first company-wide raise in at least 20 years. Over 8,000 employees will see significant salary bumps of up to 40%. Fast Retailing employs 48,000 people in Japan, and already 41,000 received raises of an average of 20% last September. The raises will increase personnel costs by around 15%, but Fast Retailing hopes that sales growth will temper that. For the retailer, the move is to make it more globally attractive for foreign workers, but it's also a politically savvy move with regards to the Japanese government. Japan's prime minister said earlier this month that raising salaries nationwide is a top priority.
This year's wage growth will determine Japan's economic future. Business leaders in this room have the power to accelerate pay rises this year.
Japan has the world's third largest economy, but its salaries are far below the OECD average, and they've barely budged since the 1990s. This is due to decades of deflation and cost cutting. But with a dip in the yen and over 3% inflation, low salaries in Japan could now be impeding economic growth. But economists fear that bountiful wage hikes, like those at Uniqlo, will remain the exception.
Let's check in on the day's trading action now. The major European indices closed higher, gains of over 1 percentage point in Frankfurt, about 0.8 for stocks in Paris. The Europe-wide Stoxx 600 index ending the session near its 8-month highs there. Wall Street's trending higher as well. The Nasdaq is up over 1 percentage point this hour. Investors will be watching for fresh inflation data out of the U.S. on Thursday. Analysts expect the pace of consumer price rises in the United States to slow slightly to around 6.5%. Wall Street is biding its time as it waits for that data, which is due to be released on Thursday. The world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, is going on a hiring spree. CEO Changpeng Zhao said that his workforce had more than doubled in size in 2022 and that he would further increase staff numbers by 15 to 30% this year as well. That's a sharp contrast to other players in the crypto market, which have been pushing ahead with layoffs. Just this week, Coinbase said it would cut 20% of its staff, the second round of job cuts in a year, while Kraken is reducing its headcount by a third. The cuts underscore the volatility of the crypto industry over the last 12 months. Nearly $2 trillion was wiped off the crypto market in 2022 as Bitcoin and others lost some 60% of their value. The collapse of exchange FTX then led to broader concerns about the stability of that sector. And Francois, I've been delving into some of the biggest challenges facing the crypto industry. That's in this week's People and Profit. It'll be airing at 4:45 p.m. Paris time on Thursday.
All right, we'll be checking out that. Many thanks. Kate Moody will be back with more business news. It's